Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to a new session of your social science children. Today we are going to start with a new lesson in history, and the lesson is about towns, traders and craftsmen. So what does these terms mean? Alright, so we'll just see what are all the important towns and where are the places the trade flourished and where are all the places various crafts are famous in our country during the medieval period. So from then it has been continuing even today at some places, but how it started in medieval period, that is what we are going to see today. So here we are going to see the medieval towns and cities, the important medieval towns and cities of our country. So here you could see various places which is already given in your book. So first, let us see the introduction about this lesson. So we have already completed Mughal Empire, Delhi Sultanate, all these lessons we have completed. So from then, after that a period came, and that is what we call it as medieval period. Okay, so the Delhi Sultanate, it lasted from 13th to 16th century, and the Mughal Empire, it lasted from 16th to 18th century. Okay, so this period, as we have seen, the capital was located at one particular place and the entire control was there with the Sultanate or the emperor in Mughal kingdom. Right? When it was Delhi Sultanate, the Sultan had the entire control. The same way when it was in Mughal Empire, the emperor had the entire control from one place throughout the country. So this encouraged, so the control was very effective and efficient. So this encouraged the trade and commerce, which resulted in economic prosperity after a long period of chaos and uncertainty. So in between, we have seen already, in between the various rulers, even in Delhi Sultanate as well as in Mughal Empire, we have seen many confusions had taken place, right? So even, in spite of all those confusions, after all those got settled down, the economic prosperity took place. So as the economy flourished, the urban centers, cities and towns flourished. So this is where, as the economy developed, as the trade and commerce developed, the cities also developed. So we are going to see how these cities and towns came to existence. Then many towns and cities served multiple functions. So it was not like one city can be used for only one purpose. It was not like that. Many cities carried out various functions. For example, let us take Madurai, that was administrative center. Okay, first it was an administrative center during the period of Chola kings. Later what happened? It also had been a religious center. So it was like a pilgrimage center, also the city of temples we could say. And then Surat, it is a port town. Port town means a town which is very near to the coastal area. Coastal area is nothing but sea. Okay. So port town is a place near coastline. Coastline or sea. Okay. So, and also it was also the major center for trade. So it served two purposes. One, it was a place for port, and the other thing, the trade and commerce was a major, the Surat served as a major center for trade, right? Again, we came to know about these places through various officials. So how we got information about these places, that these places had served various purposes? We have got the various official documents. So what are all those official documents? We can say chronicles of the ruling kings. So we have already seen about chronicles. What is meant by chronicle? It is a document written by a person in the court of the king itself, right? Yes, so that person is appointed by the king and he himself writes whatever happens in the kingdom. So that is called as chronicle. And also through the travelogues of various foreign travelers. So we have seen various foreigners being visited our country. So they have given us their observations about the country. They have given us various informations about how the administration was, how people were living, how the military was there, how the various trade activities were gone. So all these informations under their observation, they have given us the information. So all these put together, we get to know about the importance of these places. So the travelers like Ibn Battuta and Domingo Pace, who visited the country during this period. So these people are just some examples of the people who visited our country from foreign countries. So now we are going to see more about these urban centers. So first we are going to see about capital towns. Okay, so we will first see what are all the places of this capital town, and then we will mark the same in the map, shall we? Yeah. So the capitals of the empires or kingdoms and also the provinces of administration. So the place where the head of a particular kingdom is located, or the place which is going to be of very importance in that particular period, we call it to be a capital of the kingdom. So it is always well connected and well fortified. So well connected means it is connected to all the places that comes under the kingdom. So even in Delhi Sultanate, we have seen that Delhi was located as the capital first, and it was connected to all the places where Delhi Sultanate was spread over. So it is well connected and it is well fortified. Fortified means secured. Okay, so it was fully secured, like full of soldiers around the building. Maybe if a king is going to be in a palace, so it is fully safeguarded by the men, right? So that is what is called as fortified. Okay, so some capitals of medieval India, that is, the important urban centers are Delhi, Kannauj, Golconda, Bidar and Vijayanagara. Okay, so the important 5 places, the 5 important capitals are Delhi, Kannauj, Golconda, Bidar and Vijayanagara, right? So people from all over the country wanted to settle in these places because of the facilities they provided. So throughout the country, people wanted to settle in these places. Why? Being the capital, this city had all the facilities they required. It was well fortified. That means it was very safe to settle down in these cities. So that is why people wanted to settle down in these places. Right? Yeah. So now shall we mark these 5 places in the map? Here. So first comes Delhi. And here Kannauj, right? So here comes Vijayanagara, and here it is Bidar, right? And one more place which is Golconda. So these 5 places are the important capitals of the medieval period, right? So now, next we are going to see about founded towns. Okay, so the capital town, we are going to see about the court towns. So court towns are also called as capital towns, which we have seen already. So now we are going to see about founded towns. So here founded towns are the places, okay, which were built and developed by the rulers, which means it was not previously, that is, the city was not named previously. The kings who ruled then, they developed that city, they developed that particular place to be a city and they named them. Okay, so that is what we call as founded towns. So one such example is Fatehpur Sikri. So founding of many new towns and cities happened in this medieval period. So many new towns and cities emerged in this period. So Firuz Shah Tughlaq established Firuzabad in 1354 as the new capital of Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so this Firuz Shah Tughlaq, what he did, he changed the capital from Delhi to Firuzabad in 1354. So that is how a new city called Firuzabad came into existence. Sikandar Lodi founded Agra in 1504. So he shifted his capital from Delhi to Agra to watch over the Rajput king. So this capital was shifted again from Delhi to Agra because this Sikandar Lodi wanted to have a watch over these Rajput kings. So now Akbar turned a small town near Agra which was called Sikri into a walled city which was called as Fatehpur Sikri. So here Akbar turned a small town, a very small town, Agra was turned, near Agra was turned into a very big walled city. Okay, so it was fully covered by walls, then it became a very rich city. So that was named as Fatehpur Sikri. So it was used as the capital between 1571 to 1585. So this happened in Mughal Empire. Okay, so 1571 to 1585. So Shah Jahan built Shahjahanabad, which is another example of the city found in the medieval period. So Shahjahanabad was built by Shah Jahan. So like this, various cities were built in and around Delhi itself. Okay, so that is why these cities are mentioned as the 7 cities of Delhi. Okay, so the 7 cities of Delhi are Quila Rai Pitora, Mehrauli, Siri, Tughlaqabad, Firuzabad, Shergarh and Shahjahanabad. Right? So now, many magnificent mosques, forts, palaces and tombs are found in these cities. So as they have built up these cities, they built in the way they wanted to be. Okay? So many mosques were built, many tombs, forts, palaces, all these were built during this Delhi Sultanate and Mughal Empire itself. So it was heavily fortified, which means heavy security was given to all these places, and it was populated by the nobles, courtiers and commoners who followed the emperor. So those who followed the emperor, those who were along with the emperor, they started to settle down in these places, like the people like nobles, courtiers, that is the people who were in the court of the king, and then the commoners, the common people. Then some cities like Fatehpur Sikri were abandoned over time, while other places like Agra continue to thrive even today. So Fatehpur Sikri, later on it became a place which was abandoned. Abandoned means everyone left that place and went away. Okay, so abandoned means leaving and going. Then now, but cities like Agra, it is heavily populated even today. So people are living, thrive means live. Okay, so people live there even today. Next, we are going to see about trading and commercial towns. So this is the important place where people started to do their commercial or business activities. So it is trading and commercial towns. Alright, so let us see more about this now. Here, so trade increased and the local markets grew. So the trade activities started to increase one after the other. Just starting from the agriculture, people engaged themselves in various trade activities like pottery, jewelry, many activities were there. So after the trade started to increase, the local markets also grew to the next level. So thus many cities became trade and commercial towns, especially the cities that lay along the trade routes. So the many cities became the trade center and commercial centers, and most importantly the cities that were along the trade routes, which means the cities that were located on the way of trade, they were said to be the trading towns. Now, the trading towns like Surat and Calicut were also ports. So the trading towns which were at Surat and Calicut were also located as to be the ports which were near the coastal areas, and it all grew from the pre-existing settlements. So these towns were not newly built, they were already existing settlements and they were rarely fortified. So there was not much security given to these places. Next, some towns specialized in specific kinds of economic activity. So some of these towns were most specialized in a particular kind of economic activity. So the examples are Sonargaon in Bengal, which is a present day Bangladesh. It was known for the production of cotton cloth which is called as muslin. So a particular type of cotton cloth called as muslin was much produced in Sonargaon. Then Kambat in Gujarat, it is famous for the textiles and also the works of gold and silver. So these places are also the ports as well as the commercial centers. So here you could see first Surat and Calicut were the ports as well as the commercial centers, and then came Sonargaon and Cambay. So let us mark these locations in the map. So here it is Sonargaon, and here it is Cambay, here Surat, and here Calicut, right? So now this is how the trade and commercial towns we have seen. Now we are going to see about the port towns. Port towns are the places which were located along the coastline of India. The places which were located along the sea routes, we call them as port towns. So these were located in the coastline of India, and the important role in the growth of India's maritime trade. So these towns played a very important role in India's maritime trade. So the word maritime means sea. So these towns played a very important role. These port towns played a very important role in the sea trade of our country. So these port towns prospered with the European traders' arrival during the medieval era. So after these European traders came to our country, this port trade, it flourished to a next level. So richest Indian merchants resided in the port town. So the people who were rich, the people who were engaged in trade activities, the rich merchants, they settled down in the places which were near the sea, which were called as port towns. So Surat, Calicut, Tamralipti and Masulipattnam are the important port towns of the medieval era. So the four important port towns of this medieval era: Surat, Calicut, which is also called as Kozhikode, then Tamralipti, which is also called as Tamluk, and the Masulipattnam. So these four places are the important port towns of medieval era. So let us mark the same here in the map. Here you could see Surat, and here it is Calicut, and here Masulipattnam, and here it is Tamralipti, which is also called as Tamluk, right? So these four are the important port towns of the medieval period. With this, we are coming to the end of this session. See you soon in the next session. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.